in the election period previously.
And about my first question.
About your first question, we again do not interfere into the bilateral conflict cases, between the countries. As you are aware of our position on India and Pakistani relationship, because Pakistan wanted Russia as well as other countries to mediate in the resolving their Kashmir conflict, and we have already said that time that the Kashmir conflict should be resolved on the bilateral basis, on the Shimla Agreement and Lahore Declaration. So I think it would be wise for the future government or incumbent government as well, before the elections begin, to find a way so that the tension would not be higher than at the moment, The relationship should be based on the mutual trust and confidence. And this mutual trust and confidence should be found by the stakeholders and official authorities.
Our sincere and long-standing friends. And of course we agree that the situation in the Rakhine and with the refugees places great threats to the region. But nonetheless, we oppose any attempts to interfere into the internal affairs of the states or to exert pressure of their governments. Only a direct, mutual, respectful dialogue between the two neighbors will help resolve their accumulated problems. And we intend to contribute to this effort in every possible way. The role of the international community, as seen by the Russian Federation, is in creating a favorable environment for the implementation of repatriation agreements between Myanmar and Bangladesh on the bilateral basis. And until a direct bilateral updated agreement is reached on the phased repatriation of the Rohingya between Dhaka and Naypyidaw, supported by the United Nations, and conditions for the implementations are established, the international community should refrain from carrying out plans to create any humanitarian corridors or channels for creating Rohingya, and from putting blame on certain states. It will be only counterproductive.
I'd like to know from your side what's the regulation about the performance or activities of the interim government, and what's you're expecting about our election? What's the expectation from the Russian side? This is my first question. If you allow me, then I can ask it.
All right, thank you so much. First of all, I will tell you that, of course, we react positively on the decision which was made by the interim government with the announcement of the date of the elections at last 12th of February. It's a positive trend, But regarding the Russian assessment, how can we assess it until the results are not here? Of course, we were very much interested in creating such a positive, friendly, non-violent, extremist-free and violations-free atmosphere for the upcoming elections. This is very important for us and for you also, as we have already witnessed. There are so many disturbances and violations which are being held here in your country. We are interested in reducing the tension in your country. It is very important for the elections. Based on our experience in Russia, and you are aware of it, that there were a number of revolutions and counter-revolutions in Russia, in the Soviet Union, in the 90s. No revolution can be without violence and casualties, and you witness it. And you write about it every day. So for us, and for me as ambassador of my country, this is an imperative to reduce tension so that the atmosphere would be created, conducive atmosphere would be created for the elections to be held in February.
Their lives for this future that we have. So, education remains the core and strategic priority of the Russian House in Dhaka. So, and one of the most effective instruments of forms of people's diplomacy. So, in this context, I would like to highlight the important development that the Russian government has increased the number of state scholarships for Bangladeshi students up to 200 places. So, compared to just 65 places,
artillery and combat aircraft. We don't want territories. We are concerned about the life of the people whose forefathers have developed these lands for centuries and ports, and who have been commemorated in monuments as the founding fathers of these territories. It is the rights of these people that have been cancelled by the Kiev regime. This is why the people of Russian entities I have mentioned took part in the referendum to express their refusal to live under the neo-Nazis rule. It is a subject that can be hushed up. We have always stated that we are ready to and willing to conclude this conflict by peaceful means, based on the principles Russian President has outlined many times, provided that the root causes that led to this crisis are eliminated as such: the protection of people in Donbass, the restoration of peace, the demilitarization and denazification of the on February 9, 2024, if you find it in the internet. Let me remind you, in short, how it all began. It began with the 2014 coup d'etat in Ukraine and the deception of the potential resolution of all issues through the Minsk agreement. In 2022, when everything had already reached a breaking point, when the Kiev regime unleashed war in southeastern Ukraine, we made it clear to them we will have no choice but to recognize those unrecognized republics.
To media platforms will allow exchange of information and facilitate. I yield the floor to Anastasia Nemova, First Secretary, who will brief you on Russian vision
and other multilateral organizations coordinate actions in the international arena. We have proven our close positions on most of the international